หน่วยที่14 Business Readings มาฝึก Situation เรื่อง 14.1.2 Training People to Adapt กันนะคะ
หน่วยที่14 Business Readings เรื่องที่ 14.1.2 Training People to Adapt. Listen to the following dialogue. An international program in business management at a university in Thailand offers a course called Personal Management 1. In the following dialogue, Dr. Swain and his students are discussing what you have read in section 14.1.1.
Good morning, everyone.
How was your trip? I heard you went to Chiang Mai to present your paper.
It was good. It was uneventful, though. I spent most of my time in the hotel where the conference was held.
Did you find some new ideas at the conference?
Let's see. You know what? I think what I listened to at the conference was pretty much old wine in a new bottle.
How disappointing. I was hoping that you would share something from the conference with us.
Well, surprisingly, what I found interesting was this news article I read on the plane. The industry ministry is planning to set up an institute to train technicians and engineers for rising star industries. And I thought about the case that we discussed last time. Do you remember MST Industry? Do you think they will be eligible to get help from the government too?
I think they should, since they're dealing with electronics. I also read the news.
What do you think?
In my opinion, training people is absolutely a good thing. MST Industry still lacks well-trained engineers and technicians, and it's clear to me that the business is growing.
I think so too. If I remember correctly, MST Industry plans to increase their production and they're expecting to recruit more staff.
I agree. Training people is a good idea. However, when it comes to training, there is something that we tend to overlook, which will be our topic of discussion today. Training people to adapt.
But Dr. Swain, shouldn't companies hire people who are well-trained, knowledgeable, and suitable for their working environment? Why would they have to adapt?
Before I get into all the theories, I want you to work on 2 cases in groups and then present your decisions to class. In the first case, there is a lady called Lek, a senior staff member who is service-minded but rather shy and a little bit of an introvert. Her company was merged with a bigger company, and her position disappeared. The company is considering whether they should transfer her to another department to be a sales coordinator. Do you think this is a good plan? Let's have a role play. Duang Jai, could you act as the personnel manager in your group? You are to discuss the situation with your team and come up with a solution. This is information that you need to know.
Okay. Lek doesn't want the new job because she doesn't like coordinating with strangers, and she may resign, though she has knowledge and skills for her new assignment.
What exactly does she have to do?
In the new role, she would have to deal with external contractors to obtain space or rent sales booths.
And what is her problem exactly?
She's not comfortable dealing with people she doesn't know. In her previous role, she dealt with internal staff whom she'd got used to. What would you do if you were me?
If I were you, I would help her by coaching her to be less shy and more outgoing.
That sounds like a good advice. You mean so that she will become more assertive and have a positive attitude about meeting new people.
But how?
By showing her how she should talk to people, when to smile, what question to ask, and coaching her on how to deal with strangers, etc.
Danny, on second thoughts, I'm not sure that would help. We cannot change people that much.
I'm not sure that would do any good either. In fact, I'm afraid there's a limit of how much I can help her.
Well, if you say so.
What do you think I should do instead then?
You'd better find her a suitable position in the company. Since it's a big company, there's a good chance that we'll find a job that really fits her knowledge, skills, and characteristics.
Should I take that as our group's decision? Danny?
Okay.
I noticed that you were done with your first case. This is a second case. Maybe Danny can be the manager this time.
Som Si is a junior secretary who is very efficient. Recently, her company, which had only Thai employees before, was taken over by an overseas firm. Therefore, her job now involves communicating in English, an ability that she lacks. In addition, the company now requires that all secretaries know how to use computer programs that she is not familiar with. At first, she thought she should be able to deal with these difficulties, but now she thinks moving to a new company might make her life easier. Now, as a personnel manager, what do you think I should do?
What you should do is train her in everything you just mentioned.
That sounds like good advice. One of the important qualities of a good employee is the ability to adapt, of course, when it's possible. Unlike personal characteristics, I believe communication skills in a foreign language and computer skills can be developed through training. Somsri might even find her work more interesting.
I would definitely do that. From what I have read, she should develop an action plan to educate herself. It would be a long-term plan. I think this is what Dr. Swain meant by training people to adapt.
That would probably help. And you should also have some training to develop her skills too. I'm sure other employees need it too.
Good, good. I guess we're ready to present our group's decisions to class.
ต่อไปเป็นการฝึก situation เรื่องที่ 14.2.2 Government's plan to turn farmers in entrepreneur
เรื่องที่ 14.2.2 Government's plan to turn farmers into entrepreneurs. Listen to the following dialogue. Sushat, a Thai university student, is talking to Kumiko, a female exchange student from Japan. The conversation is about the business review in section 14.2.1.
Kumiko, have you read the article about the Thai government's plan to turn farmers into entrepreneurs?
Yes, it's in The Nation, isn't it?
Right. What do you think about the plan?
Let's see. If you ask me, it's a good idea.
Why do you say so?
This idea is not new in Japan. If I understand correctly, Japan and Thailand are facing similar problems in the agricultural sector. Young people prefer to look for jobs in big cities. They are not interested in farming. Actually, I wrote a report on this. Do you know that in Japan, the number of people working in agriculture has plunged very rapidly in recent years?
Is that so? That's quite significant.
Yes, and we have become very dependent on food from the US, China, and Australia.
But don't you think turning farmers into entrepreneurs is rather radical? I mean, I don't really trust innovations anymore. Whenever they come up with something new, it tends to have negative effects in the long run.
What do you mean by that?
Okay, take this as an example. There was a time when rice farmers were self-reliant, adaptive, and even inventive in the way they selected their seeds and saplings for replanting. In the old days, most of them also knew how to make compost to fertilize their rice fields and how to use natural substances to ward off pests. The advent of modern technologies, including store-bought seeds, fertilizers and pesticides, over the past several decades had changed all that. Farmers have gradually lost control of the production process and become dependent on the manufacturers of fertilizers and pesticides.
You seem to know a lot about farming.
Well, my parents were farmers.
I see. I see what you mean, but it's useless to talk about the good old days. The problem Japan is facing is how to be more dependent on ourselves in terms of food. And for Thailand, as stated in the article, rice yields per hectare have become rather low compared to other rice exporting countries in Southeast Asia.
I guess you're right. Still, don't you think there should be other, less radical ways to deal with the problem?
I haven't really thought about it, but what Japan is doing is probably much more radical.
Really? What are they doing?
Private companies are now allowed by the government to enter an agricultural sector which was restricted to family landowners only in the past. They can now lease huge plots of land anywhere in Japan, train and employ people from anywhere in the country, and throw unlimited funds into turning farming high-tech.
Now you're talking radical. Contrary to what the Thai government is doing, you guys are turning entrepreneurs into farmers.
The Japanese government says by allowing large companies to enter the fray, we increase the likelihood of making farming attractive enough to draw the youth out of the cities. What's more, food retailers and manufacturers want stability and quality control for supplies. And after several food safety scandals, consumers want better labeling and product history.
How interesting. Anyway, I hope the Thai government really know what they're doing. As the author of the article suggests, agricultural restructuring is easier said than done. How will they change the farmers' attitudes? They no longer see farming as their priority.
Sushant, I'm not quite convinced of that. How many farmers do you think have that kind of attitude? Land, I believe, is the most valuable property they have. Why won't they want to make the most of it if they can?
Well, I guess someone should do research on that.
You're writing your thesis proposal, aren't you? Why don't you take this as your research topic?
Sounds like a good idea. I will read more about it and maybe find a supervisor who is keen on this area.
Good. I'm looking forward to your findings. I'm curious to know about this too.
คราวนี้มาฝึก situation เรื่องที่ 14.3.2 discussing facts and figures กันนะคะ
เรื่องที่ 14.3.2 discussing facts and figures. Listen to the following dialogue. Suwit, a Thai student, is talking to his friend, Susan, and a friend of hers, Seth Lynch, who is visiting from the United States. They are talking about information that you have read in Figure 1.
Suwit, I'd like you to meet my friend, Seth Lynch.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Seth.
Seth's visiting from the United States.
Where in the States?
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Seth works for a computer company in Pittsburgh.
That's wonderful. What exactly do you do there?
I'm a computer programmer. What about you?
I'm a student at a university in Bangkok.
What's your faculty?
Commerce and accountancy.
What will you do after you graduate?
I haven't made up my mind. I don't know yet whether I should further my education in the United States or work in a bank after my graduation.
When are you going to graduate?
Next year.
Seth, didn't you tell me that you found an article on job benefits of higher education? You might want to share some information with Suwit. Maybe you can help Suwit decide what to do after he graduates.
Right. Actually, I happen to have the article here with me. I found it on the internet. Here, you see, it's clear from Figure 1 that on average people with higher levels of education earn more. More educated people are very likely to be better off than those with less college education.
Let's see.
Okay, see, the horizontal lines show the average incomes that one will earn at different levels of education.
I see. So after I graduate, I will probably make around $38,000 per year after tax if I live in the United States. Is that right?
Yes, you are right. But if you have a master's degree, your annual income will be as high as $46,000 per year.
That's true. Oh, that's much more.
Now, if you don't stop there and get a doctoral degree, you may earn as much as $58,000 per year.
But how about the cost of education? I will probably have to pay a lot of money before I get a master's or a doctoral degree. And what about the money I would earn if I started working right after I received my bachelor's degree?
What faculty are you in again?
Commerce and accountancy.
Right.
Actually, that's a good point. We should probably take those factors into account. What do you think, Seth?
Look at figure 2 here. See? It doesn't give you the exact answer, but we should get an idea. By the age of 33, one who enrolled at the age of 18 has earned enough to compensate for both tuition and fees at a 4-year university and earnings foregone during the college years.
What is earnings foregone?
In this context, it means the money those who decided to enter a 4-year university would have earned if they had started working right after finishing high school.
Tell us how you came up with that.
Look at the horizontal line down here, which is age, and the vertical line on the left, earnings. And as shown here on the top of the figure, the dotted line is for high school graduates and the black line those with bachelor's degrees.
Okay.
See? When the black line reaches 33, it cuts the dotted line and starts to go higher and higher than the dotted line. That is, at the age of 33, college graduates start to make more money than their high school graduate.
Meaning?
Meaning, before the age of 33, they have to pay back the money that they borrowed for their college education. So they can't fully enjoy the financial benefits from spending 4 more years studying until they are 33 years old. After that, they make much more money.
And you think that the investment in master's and doctoral degrees should probably go in the same direction?
I think so.
What do you think, Suit?
I am going to apply now. Which university do you recommend, Seth?
Suit, now that you see the statistics, you couldn't wait, eh?
As they say, Susan, time and tide wait for no man.
จบ Dialogue หน่วยที่ 14